Contrary to popular belief, smoking is not on the rise. And here to tell us about it is Chris Kiehne, the Executive Director of the Delaware Lung Association. Now, he's going to tell us what they've been doing, and there's some very interesting projects. As you can see, I've got my finger in some type of apparatus, and we're going to find out what kind of reading I'm getting on my pulse shortly. Welcome, Chris. Welcome to Focus Delaware.
Thank you, Bob. It's good to be here.
Why don't you tell us, before we begin, about a little bit of history of the Delaware Lung Association?
Well, the Delaware Lung Association is the successor, in a sense, to the old Delaware Anti-Tuberculosis Association. We were founded 75 years ago. We're celebrating our diamond anniversary. And we were originated to fight what was then one of the leading killers, the White Plague, consumption. It's in Henry, in James's novels and in many old romantic episodes, but it was a major killer. We can now cure tuberculosis. In fact, it does not even require hospitalization. However, we've seen a real rise in the last generation in the chronic diseases and in diseases caused by cigarette smoking. And we're talking, in the case of the Lung Association, about diseases that we call obstructive lung disease, emphysema, chronic bronchitis. But of course, we're also talking about other diseases caused by cigarette smoking, such as lung cancer, heart disease, and any number of other lesser but still serious diseases.
What kind of services does the Lung Association offer?
We are almost exclusively educational today, in the sense that we do programs for patients with lung disease, such as children with asthma and their parents. We have a program that we call our Family Asthma Program. We have just originated a course for adults with lung disease that we have just conducted at the Veterans Administration Hospital. We repeat these two programs generally twice a year for both the children with asthma and their families and the adults with lung disease. And what we're trying to do is increase their ability to live with what are chronic diseases, diseases that cannot be cured, but diseases that are livable and that do not need to interfere with the quality of life. We are trying to do educational programs as well to discourage cigarette smoking, and that is a particularly important goal for us, because we do believe that it is the greatest preventable cause of death and disability in the United States today. We do quit smoking clinics, both for the public and for industry. We're very excited that many businesses are beginning to take an interest in their employees' health. And we have been doing quit smoking clinics for companies on company time, where they are encouraging their employees and giving them leave time. We have a number of what we call manuals, self-help quitting books that we distribute to adults that want to quit smoking. We can talk in a little bit about some of the toys and the gimmicks that we have for high schools, but this is only one of the parts of our school health education program. So it's almost completely education.
Is it true that, speaking of children, that teenage smoking is not on the rise? It's actually dropping?
We've had some very good news in the last 2 to 3 years. We have, for the first time in the last 20 years, seen a decrease in the incidence of smoking among teenagers in the United States as a whole. Now, I don't have good data for the state of Delaware, but normally the trends tend to be fairly consistent. Where we're seeing, though, a increase is in teenage girls. And this is a particular concern to us, because women have, in fact, double danger from cigarette smoking, especially young women who are entering the years during which they may have children, because of the particular effects on smoking on pregnancy, in addition to the other effects of cigarette smoking.
Now, what kind of programs are you doing in the schools?
Well, one of the gimmicks that I brought along is going to demonstrate one of the programs, and I'm going to turn you on and hope that you are going to begin showing a readout on your pulse. And this is one particular piece of equipment in a project that we call a biofeedback program. And our desire is to take pieces of equipment into the schools, into secondary schools, that can show to adolescents and teenagers the immediate effects of smoking a cigarette. One of the things that we have noticed in trying to educate young people about smoking is that they're not particularly concerned about the long-term effects. But if we can demonstrate to them that cigarette smoking does have an immediate effect on pulse rate, which would increase if you were to sit down and smoke a cigarette, or on hand tremor, which is, I guess I'm doing okay, but you know, I might otherwise be expected to be, since I'm on television, to be shaking a bit. Hand tremor actually increases if you smoke a cigarette. Skin temperature will decrease after smoking a cigarette, and the carbon monoxide level of the air that we exhale is going to increase. because of the cigarette smoke that we take in. We've been doing this in Delaware high schools now. This is our second year. We just purchased the equipment and developed the program in Delaware. We've done it in 7 schools last year, and out of the 300 plus students that participated in the program that we were able to follow up, we had about a 20% of the smokers reported quitting smoking at the end of the program. So we're encouraged by it and excited. We hope to at least double the program this year.
What kind of reading am I getting here?
Well, right now you're showing a pulse rate of about 80, which, considering the fact that, again, we're sitting here and talking on live television, I think is remarkable.
So I'll live?
Well, I can't say that for sure at all. That's well beyond my scope. I can just say that your pulse rate is just zoomed up to 89.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that looks glum.
Uh-oh. You know, you brought along a Brooke Shields commercial. Why don't you tell us about your use of Brooke Shields in Lung Association commercials and what we're about to see also?
Brooke Shields, under the past Washington administration, had been contracted to do some public education television spots. When the president changed in Washington, the word went out from the administration that Brooke Shields was not an appropriate role model for today's teenagers. The Lung Association tends to disagree. We tend to believe that if you're going to reach teenagers, you've got to reach them through someone that they can relate to. We're over the hill, Bob. We can't go into a high school classroom and tell a teenager what they should or shouldn't do. And Brooke Shields cannot tell them what they should or shouldn't do, but she can set an example. And we're very glad that she has signed on, in a sense, with the Lung Association. Which
what are we
means
about to see in this commercial here?
We're about to see her talking about, well, her personal attitude towards young men who smoke.
Let's see that now.
There was this guy who I thought was terrific. I mean, well, self-assured. And I really liked that in a person. Anyway, one night I saw him at a party. And I got up the nerve to say hello. And then he took out a cigarette. Blows my whole image of him. I mean, I know I make some people nervous, but I thought he had it together.
Smoking. It's a dead giveaway.
I think people who smoke are real losers.
Well, I hope that commercial has impact upon the teenage smokers in this country.
I do, too. I think that Brooke Shields is having a lot of impact on a lot of the people in this country.
For sure. And what about low-tar cigarettes? Will they help prevent lung cancer?
Probably not. The evidence is really kind of iffy about low-tar nicotine cigarettes. If people adjust their smoking behavior, smoke more cigarettes, inhale more deeply, put their fingers over the little holes in the filters, which a lot of low-tar smokers do without admitting it, they're going to be getting just as much tar and nicotine into their system as they would smoking a higher tar cigarette. The only people that are really benefiting are the cigarette companies, because people buy twice as many packs of cigarettes. Now, if you're being honest with yourself and you're going to smoke them without breaking the filter and without inhaling more deeply, yes, it's better for you.
Well, thanks for coming on our show, Chris.
Glad to do it.
Applaud your efforts, and thanks for bringing on all this demonstrative evidence to show how dangerous it can be. We can help you in any way. Please let us know.
Certainly shall.
Okay, and